paused it, but I'll go ahead and start it. And let me go to sharing my screen. Let's see there, I'll share the screen. And I always forget. I'm not as good at this stuff as Christina. You guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
I'm going to go to slideshow.
To the side, yeah.
Oh, is that Christina? Oh, it was Carol talking. Let's see here. There we go. Does that look right?
Yeah.
All right. We actually, we're recording now, and I have an hour, so it gives me a little bit more leeway, but we are going to keep on moving. So welcome to week 4 of Director Bound. We're rounding the corner there. We're more than halfway through. So tonight we're going to talk about building a team. And some of you guys have already started working on that, but when you're sharing our amazing business opportunity, there are people out there who need us, okay? So we will talk during this session about informing and inviting people to join our business, right? So who's been doing awesome with host coaching last week? Anybody had success over the past week? Were you gone all last week, Julia?
Well, I got back Wednesday. I do have a party Saturday that I've been doing some coaching for.
Share what's worked.
So I think what's really been working is, so we booked it a few weeks ago, and I've really just been building the excitement by sending like a recipe. I sent her a season's best in her host packet too. And so she was my old store manager. So I just kind of wrote a note, a really nice note to her, and thanked her for hosting. And I sent her that, and she got so excited that she made a recipe, right away. And so that built the excitement for her. So I think that was kind of the building anticipation. And then I've also been just kind of conversing with her about different recipes we could try. She's really excited. We're doing the French 75 recipe from the Brunch and Bevs packet.
Okay.
Excited to try that. So
fun. Yeah. All right. What about you, Carol? You had parties going? You've been host coaching some of them? I think she's trying to unmute. See if I can do it. I can't unmute you. Oh, there you go.
I tried. Am I unmuted?
Yes, we hear you.
Coaching is a hard thing to me, but I did book 2 new virtual shows this week. So I still have, again, I'm not a script person. I either say it from the heart or I'm not going to say it. And I try to force myself to use the scripts. They don't sound normal to me.
Right.
And to me, if I'm the coach or if I'm the hostess and you're trying to sell me, I don't want to hear your script. And that's the hard thing. Is I do read them ahead of time, and then I talk. So I don't know. Again, like I said, I did get 2 new virtual shows this week. So we'll see how it goes next week. See if what I'm doing is on point or not.
Well, here's a thought also for you, because I'm very much the same way. And sometimes I read what they suggest, and sometimes I send them that information. Sometimes, like you, I just go off script and go with what I feel is right based on that host and our communications and everything. Is you might want to try to coach both like your virtual parties together. You know what I mean? Like introduce them to each other. I think they like seeing that you have more than one going on at a time. I think that makes them feel good about doing their party with you. Is coach them both at the same time. Say, hey, ladies, you know what? You guys both have your parties going on, so I'm going to just share the same information with both of you at the same time. And that way, I think they enjoy that. You can.
That may help, because this is, to tell you the truth, I'm just learning the virtual. I've never done a virtual, and like I said, I'm just setting up these 2. In fact, before I was waiting for this call, that's what I was doing, is doing my outline. And it's like, to me, I'm so confused as to what's the difference between a virtual and just a regular Facebook show, So I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's not a whole lot if you look at it that way. You could talk about a particular recipe the entire week, and then show the recipe, the products that you'll be going with those. Start with the power tools, and then the supplementary tools that go along with it. I would do a little recruiting game in there. I would do a little booking game in there, and just treat it just like a regular show. What's overwhelming when you look at those party packs is how they give you 150 posts. And obviously you're not going to post that many, so you have to pick and choose what of those you want to use. So that's the first thing you got to get over, the overwhelming amount that's on there. But good deal. Good deal. So
Sorry.
I'm proud of you for booking those 2 more. That's fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So remember, you guys tracking your
I'm going to
contacts?
mute you again so y'all don't hear my granddaughter.
Oh, I know.
Do
That's
what?
fine. That's fine. She's adorable. Make sure you
Thank you.
keep a log of your contacts, both your booking leads and your recruit leads. You guys got little tracking
I
sheets?
do.
Awesome. Oh, Julia.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really need to make that business in a binder. I think that's going to help me a lot. Just
Yeah.
because like what I've done over the course of the past year is like it's scattered in a bunch of different places. So I
Yeah.
think it'll help me like maintain like staying on track with it and also keeping it in one place. So
Well, I tell you what, when you come Wednesday, I've got a couple sheets I'll give you that you can use to track. I've got them already printed binders that we had done in the past, so I'll give you some of those. And at least you can start with that. You said you have a binder, right?
what was that?
You said you have a binder, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you some sheets. That'll get you started.
Thank you.
And then you can organize it differently as you go, but at least you'll have them all in one place, kind of a thing, right? Okay. Are you doing a 3-2-1s? This is a hard one. This is another one that if we can just work our way into doing this, then we will all have some pretty strong, everybody over my 20 years business, this is what really keeps you going. 3 contacts a day, 2 shows a week, 1 recruit a month. And this could just be your Monday through Friday. They don't have to be your Saturday, Sunday. Or you could, if Saturday and Sunday you have more time, then you can say take Monday, Tuesday off, or Monday, Wednesday, or maybe take Friday off. I would say doing that 5 days a week, okay? Because if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be a no. And if you don't go after what you want, of course, you're never going to have it. So step forward, and otherwise you'll always be in the same spot. So just kind of try to keep on with that, okay? Share one of the things you learned from our homework. Did you guys get a chance to listen to Make It Impactful? I love your honesty, Julia. It's okay. It's okay.
I'll catch up eventually.
I know. And you are working that other program alongside of it, but don't be afraid of what could go wrong. Focus on what could go right, and just try to fit it in. You know what I've done is I've downloaded them into a folder on my phone, and it's called Pampered Chef Training, and I just have them on there so that when can you see that? So that when I am in the car or out and about, I could just listen to them. And I've got everything from host coaching, bookings, product pros, top recruiters, and then the host coach, Make It Impactful on there. So those are good things to do. That's one way. I just did it on my phone, and then I have it with me. Because I found if I tried to wait till I was at my computer, it was never happening. So that's maybe a tip that you can try.
How did you get those on your phone?
I opened up Pampered Chef PCU.
Okay.
And download it from there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, sharing the opportunity is actually a really simple process. It involves 3 steps. You inform, you invite, and you have an opportunity to chat. So tonight we're going to focus on the first 2, informing and inviting. Okay. And what's the difference between informing and inviting? Informing is really just creating interest in the business, okay? When you inform your show guests about the opportunity, you're simply giving them some information. You're going to want to give enough information to help create interest in their business opportunity. So some examples of this are when you tell your story, when you plant recruiting seeds at your shows, like this came in my kit, or this item is included in the extra bonus items you can earn this month if you start your own business. That kind of thing. And I go over the questions on the survey or door prize tip at the end of our show. Or for virtual parties, it's a post about why you love being a consultant or our new consultant kits. Okay, so it's, as I was telling Carol earlier, it's important to go ahead and treat a virtual just like a regular show and add those things. And sometimes I'll even go on live and say, introduce myself and say, hey, just so you guys know, this is a virtual party. You're going to be seeing a lot of pictures and videos. I am real. I'm a live person. I want to thank Julia for hosting this virtual party with me. And, this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. I give a little bit of my story, why I started Pampered Chef, and I keep it like in a minute. And then I, just say, let's have a great week and remember to post questions, kind of a thing. Okay, you're informing when you play a recruiting game or activity, or when you post for guests to ask questions about your job. Those are all just informing. When you just put it up there. Inviting is when you actually invite guests to individually learn more. Okay, it's not inviting them to sell. It might be as simple as saying if they want to join you for a cup of coffee or a soda to chat and see if Pampered Chef looks like a good fit for them. Or even calling, texting, or private messaging them with that information. So you want to make sure you always don't stop at just informing. Personally invite each of your guests to find out more. And a lot of people like to do this at what we call the checkout chat. You know, when they're placing their orders, you can say, you know what, I want to invite you to, did you think a little bit about Pampered Chef? Was there something that piqued your interest? We know, how about we have a cup of coffee? Or can I call you and we speak specifically about this? That's an actual invitation, okay? So a little bit of difference there. When to inform. There are some different times that you can inform. It can happen, as you're seeing here, some different opportunities to do that. The first one will probably be during what we call the group hello, where guests introduce themselves and tell how they know the host. This will be where you will tell a little bit about yourself as well. You may choose to tell your PC story at the beginning of the show, or you may choose to do it at the end. I usually introduce myself at the beginning because I feel like it's a good group hello. You know, you always, I like the post too, if you're doing a virtual, about tell how you know the host, you know, and something special about the host. And then because I always say, well, I met her at, you know, I met Joey at Carol's party last week and we just had so much fun. She wanted to continue the party herself. So here we all are. And, you know, that's kind of it. If I just do a quick little hello that way, then I'll give my full story a little bit later on. Okay, so you're going to choose what fits best for you. You'll also want to sprinkle those seeds about recruiting throughout your shows. If you're doing a station style show, you may choose to do a focus on a particular power tool, like the Everyday Rock Crock. You could say something like this. You can say, this amazing Everyday Rock Crock is so versatile, and I love using mine in my kitchen at home. It came in my new consultant kit, so if you fall in love with this product today and decide to add it to your own kitchen, it's $119. But for just $40 more, you can decide to give this amazing business a try and purchase the deluxe kit instead, and you'll get that rock crock and the simple slice that we just used, which is $32, plus $300 more in products, many of which we've used today for just $159. We'll talk some more about this in a bit. See, so you can bring it up when you word it like that. It's like, oh my God, I have to have that rock crock, and for just a couple more bucks, I get all these other products. Okay, so you might want to mention some other perks of being a consultant as you do your show, like a trip you're earning. If you're that way, I like to do that. I usually have my apron with all my trips on it, and that's a good conversation starter there. Or that you have 2 other Facebook parties running right now while you're at this party, like we were just talking, Carol. You want to share more information during the confident close as you wrap up the party, like as you're going over questions on the survey slip. And you know, with virtual parties, you can do that. You can do a survey slip, but you can just make a Google Doc and post it on there, and then it's just like a live party. And you can go over those questions too. So remember, it's not about giving away a prize, it's about collecting leads. So you definitely want to do that. For me, it's kind of an easy sell when you give away a prize. A lot of times I forget to bring prizes, so I will give away free shipping. And I always say that too. He's like, oh, who doesn't love free shipping? You know, so that usually gets them filling out my slip a little faster than sometimes saying, I don't need a pan scraper or Season's Best Cookbook. So I like to give away free shipping. So if you give out the survey slips without talking about them, you will probably only get first names and mostly all no responses. When I'm at a live party, I physically talk about each item on there. Kitchen shows, bridal shows, virtual parties, fundraisers, and joining me in the opportunity. I talk about all of those as I'm passing out the slip, and I ask them to please make sure that they answer those. Otherwise, I'll assume they're all yes, and we'll launch into that. So that's kind of a fun way. However, if you talk about each item on the survey slip, as you complete them, you'll actually get great leads. When you talk about learning more about the opportunity, you might say something like this. We've talked a bit tonight about how amazing my job is. You probably didn't come here looking for a job, but if you thought that what I'm doing looks like fun, or if you need to make some extra money, especially at this time of year, with a lot of flexibility and freedom to work when and where you want, or if you love these tools and want everything, you really should think about giving this business a try. Okay. When you purchase one of our new consultant kits, you aren't signing up to sell for the next 20 years. Whoops, not like me. You're just saying, hey, I'll give it a try by doing a handful of shows to see if it's a good fit for me and my family. And if it's not, you've earned back the investment you made on the kit. You have money in your pocket, and you have the best kitchen tools on the market in your own kitchen. So that sounds pretty, inviting, right? It's like, okay, not so scary. But you just might find that the Pampered Chef is a perfect fit for you, and it could change your life. How would you like to have the financial freedom that you want? To not have to lie awake worrying about bills, to be debt-free, to have a job that you can work around your family life instead of the other way around. A lot of people don't think that. I know when I went to my first party, I wasn't thinking about getting a job. I thought you had to do a job interview like you did for every other job I've ever interviewed for. You had to go interview. I didn't realize Pampered Chef wasn't like that. So I invite each of you, that's a great way to word this, I invite each of you to think about doing what I do, and I'll be here to help you every step of the way. Mark yes or maybe on the survey slip, and I can send you home with a little information, or we can just get together for coffee or a soda and see if it looks like a good fit, things like that. But you definitely have to talk about it, okay? And then it's what we call red flag questions. There's a little controversy with the whole red flag. Some people call them green flags, meaning go. You need to act on these people. Red flags just means you got to stop and pay attention to, whoa, think about what they just said, because people are going to ask you things like this. If you ever heard these questions at your shows, how many shows do you do per week? Are there many consultants in this area? Do you do all your shows at night? Boy, wouldn't it be great to be able to do some daytime ones? Do you get to keep all of those products? Does your husband mind if you do this? Are those bags heavy? If you've ever heard some of these, when you answer them, what you want to do is you answer them back how it worked for them. When it says, how many shows do you do per week? You don't want to just say, well, I do one because that's what works for me. And you say, well, you know what? The beauty of this is you can do however many works into your lifestyle. For me, it happens to be 2. For you, it might be 1. For you, it might be 3. How many would you need to do, kind of thing? Do you do all of your shows at night? Well, if you're Julia, I don't know about you, Carol, but if you're Julia, you say, well, yes, I have a day job. This is my evening or weekend fun job. So yeah, for me, I do. But on the weekends, I do daytime ones. But there are other consultants who do daytime ones. So you want them to see both sides of it, because at this point, you probably don't know their situation, if you're meeting them at a party. Okay. Other red flag behaviors. All right. So besides the questions people ask, you can also sometimes tell by their behavior. People who arrive early and or stay late, right? They may be doing so just to check you out and see what you're doing. They may talk with you as you're setting up or packing up. They may offer to help you. Instead of saying, oh, no, thanks, I have a system, let them help you. Repack it later, but let them help you. It'll give you an opportunity to ask them if they would like more information. It's kind of nice because it's easier to do that when you're actually doing something physical than if you're just staring at them and saying, so you want some more information? But as you're loading things up together, you can be talking that way. So don't forget to tell your story and notice who's hanging on your every word. You're going to be able to tell, right? And people who are very interactive during the show ask lots of questions, make lots of comments, and or they say they have lots of PC at their home. These are great leads too, especially since they already have a lot of the products. They're familiar with their products. They're familiar with the quality of them. And then it's an easier sell for people, because their genuine excitement for their products are going to sell them way more than trying to learn all the features and benefits of them. Okay. So if someone has a lot of PC, I talked about that. Be sure to talk with these people at the full service checkout in a direct way. You might say something like this. Did you know you sold 5 manual food processors today? Just because you talked about how amazing it was, 5 people bought it. You would be so great at what I do. Have you ever thought about doing something fun like this? Things like that, okay? And if the night gets as busy as it sometimes can and you didn't get a chance to talk to them, I like to call back the next day or reach out to them the next day. You know what? I can't stop thinking about you. You were so fun last night. It was just so busy. I really didn't get a chance to talk to you the way I would like to. You would be amazing at this. Have you ever thought about doing something like Pampered Chef? I would love to have someone like you on my team. Open up with that, okay? So go back to them and invite them the next day. Don't just go home and say, well, missed that opportunity. You can always go back. And that's one of my favorite lines is, I can't stop thinking about you. You are exactly what what I look for in a team member. Okay. So let's be sure we tell our story. You're going to want to include why you started Pampered Chef, why you've stayed with Pampered Chef, because that could be different. For me, it's different. And what you're excited about next. Okay. Be sure to keep your story short and relatable. If you go into too much detail about things, people can't relate to that and they'll tune you out. So you might say something like this. I got started with Pampered Chef because I fell in love with the products and wanted them all in my kitchen, but couldn't afford to buy them all. So we had some extra spending money at first, but what I found was that I could actually make my car payment too, along with pizza and the movies, and then that I could also pay the mortgage or buy a house, right, and make a significant contribution to our monthly expenses. I'm working now on becoming a director with our company, so I'm looking for people who want to be consultants, but I'm looking for leaders who might want to do this along with me. So watch what I do tonight, and if it looks like something you'd like to try, I'd love to talk with you more. So something like that is good, but keep it short and relatable. You want to make sure that they can, you know, relate to your story. Otherwise, I'm going to say, oh, well, that's good for you, but I ain't nothing like you, so that ain't going to work. These are a list of some fun recruiting activities. I personally love the ticket game, where you give a ticket for every time they ask a question about your business. I call it my Let's Get Nosy part of the show. And I just hand everybody a ticket whenever they ask me a question. And if they're silent and they don't want to ask a question, well, then I'll go to the person closest to me and say, well, Julia, I'm so glad you asked how much money I can make at every show. Everyone always wants to know, but everyone's afraid to ask. And I hand Julia a ticket and I just answer the question. And then I say, okay, what else? And again, if it's quiet, you know, I might say something like, you know, well, how many nights a week do you have to work? Oh my gosh, Carol, you are so smart to be asking a question like that. I am so glad you asked. And I walk over, you know what I mean? And then it starts getting it going. So there's different ways you can do it. You can pass the prize. And that's one where every time someone asks a question, they get to hold the prize. And then when all the questions are done, you can set a timer or something like that. And when people quit asking questions, whoever's holding the prize gets it. The envelope game. Have you ever heard of the envelope game? Envelope game involves handing an envelope to 3 different people with numbers 1 through 3 on the outside. I actually tend to combine this with the ticket game. As a person with envelope 1, sometimes this pertains to a question someone's asked. To open it and tell how much the commission check is for, she'll say something like $432. And you'll say, this was Sally on my team, a new consultant who just started and did 1 virtual party per week. This is her first commission check. And then envelope 2 will have a higher amount, say $1,235. And you'll say, that's Samantha, and she's been with our team for 6 months. She does 2 shows per week, and here's her commission check. So you want them to see different levels of the business. This is the point. And then you'll go to envelope number 3, and it'll have something more like $3,000 and say, this is my commission check, or you can say, this is my director's commission check. And she did 8 shows last month and has a team of 25 people. Which commission check would you want? And that's a pretty powerful thing. So it shows them, and if I just want to be a hobbyist, for some, $432 is an amazing addition to the family budget. For some, they may say, wow, $1,200? Dang, for working 2 days a week, I think I could squeeze in 2 days a week. Or if they turn into wanting to do this as a business, $3,000, like mine was $4,000 last month. $3,000 a month is a pretty good deal, you know? So it's a powerful thing. There are some Did You Know cards, which are either index cards or stickers that you placed on random catalogs. You can download those in PCU and on Consultants Corner. Towards the end of the show, you ask who has index card or sticker, you know, and have them read the Did You Know statement. You know, like, did you know that Pampered Chef consultants can earn free products every season? Or did you know that consultants get discounts from places like AT&T, Verizon, Sam's Club, and lots more? Those are great things to post on things. Like I said, there's stickers that you can print out or just handwrite them onto index cards and pass them out. Like I've gone to some of these other parties like Norwex and Premier Jewelry, and they hand out cards. And they have you, you know, like they even have you pick your card, what you want to read, and then they read it out, and that's part of their spiel. I love the Y bag. That's something I've done at a different time in my business. You take just a little bag, and you put little trinkets about all the reasons why you love your Pampered Chef business. If you are making a car payment, you can put a toy car in there. If you can take, this is my AAA card, but you can take a credit card and cut it up. You can say, because I'm working on being debt free. You can put your house key in there, Julia, because you just bought a house. You can put a toy in there, Carol, because you like to be able to spend time with your grandchildren, but you also need to make a little money to pamper your grandchildren. Things like that, all the reasons why. Some people put in a rubber band and they call it for support. Some people are bold enough to put a bra in there for support. I'd go with rubber band myself. Rubber band actually is good for flexibility. Excuse me, that's a good one. It's for flexibility. So there's all kinds of things you could put in that Y bag. You'll get a lot of laughs, but you really get your point across. And then their PC recruiting slide. I don't know if they still sell that in the supply order, but that's kind of a fun thing to do too. It goes through all the different perks of being a consultant. It's kind of like your Y bag in a visual form. So Y bags are fun. You can always just do something like that. Okay. Sharing the opportunity on virtual parties. So if you're more of a virtual party person, there are some great graphics to do that, okay? You might do a game like Ask Me a Question About My Job, or a commission check game so that you can post a copy of a person's commission check, and I'm happy to post copies of my commission check for you guys if you want to see those, and how many shows they think this person did. Anyone who likes or comments on any of our recruiting posts is a potential lead, so you could reach out to them by private message, text, call, or email. Usually personal message works best. Share perks of being a consultant just like you would at a cooking show. I like to complete my virtual parties with a Google survey. We talked a little bit about that earlier, where I can ask some of the types of questions from the survey slip we use at our cooking shows. People might not be as likely to say, hey, I want information on a post on the show, but they might say they want more info privately. So given this opportunity, it's a great idea to do full service checkout calls with your guests after orders are placed and before the show closes as well. If it's possible, try it that way. And besides verifying their order and shipping address, you'll want to offer them the opportunity to find out more about becoming a consultant as well as booking a show. This is where you're going to get the most success out of your virtual parties, is when you really, like Carol and I keep saying, it's the theme of this conversation today, is that you just treat it like a cooking show. You know, where you just talk to them, and how would you have handled it at a live show? Handle it the same way on your virtual party. It's real easy to get chicken out and not do those things. It's real easy. And you can put words into your head about what they're thinking by saying, well, they're not interested, otherwise they'd be asking me. But you know what? You don't know. They may be just as scared on the other side, so it's really up to us to ask them. It's a great business practice to send a thank you email to each ordering guest with a recipe and offer info about booking and joining your team. I have posted on our team page some of my after the show contacts like this, where I usually post the recipe I made, and I talk about either booking a party or the next party's coming up. If you got home and decided this was more fun than you thought it was going to be and you just want to do it again, well then, hey, here I am. Let's do this again. So reaching out afterward also sets you apart from that salesy thing we were talking about earlier. So you can do that. And the most important person to follow up with is your host. She's your best potential recruit, so ask the host before the show starts. Maybe turn it into her first show. During the show and at the end before you close. Tell them about their kit credit and if they want to give it a try. So lots of different opportunities. And these are some great posts from the PC website. They're in marketing imagery, right? So some great info, earn the money you need, dig into all the perks. And then this is where you can follow up with a bunch of great perks. Life tastes great. I like this one. A year from today, you'll wish you'd started today. That's probably when I talk about my, give my story. That's probably what I tell people. My biggest regret is that I didn't start sooner. I was a chicken. I was scared to death to talk to people, and I didn't want to start because I was just afraid. And my biggest regret is that I took so long to start. I wish I'd started sooner. Ask me anything. This is a good one I use. This one's great as well. Many people have thought about starting their own business. Just give them a reason to give it a try. All right. I like this one too, because this is all about what Pampered Chef is about. When I talk a little bit about it, people, I always ask the question, how many people have never been to a Pampered Chef show? And there's inevitably still 1, 2, 3 people in the room who raise their hands. And, you know, I always talk about how our mission is about bringing people back to the table. And there's plenty of room at our table for you. So that's a good one to say. Our apron comes in 6 sizes. This is fun. This is a real good one because then they can see it's kind of like the envelope game. Remember we were talking about that? Catalog, virtual, short-term, career. This is the $3,000 paycheck. So it's nice because they can see which one fits you. Or this one here is kind of a newer version of it. Apron comes in 5 sizes. Same thing. It's just our current apron, and well, not our current. So or it's the apron I wear. But that's nice to see too. So. When to invite. All right, so we're going to invite people to get more information for sure during the full service checkout. And if you did an activity like the ticket game, you might ask, well, what about the opportunity interested you most? Right? Or you could say, you were so much fun at the show and you already totally love our products. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? And if they say yes, ask them if they have more questions or if they are ready to order the new consultant kit. Don't just what we call throw up on them, which means that you just gush about all the amazing things that you have loved with Pampered Chef because you've been in it longer and you've experienced conference and you've experienced our team trainings and you've experienced blah, 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 blah. And they're like, whoa, chick, I'm not even sure this is something I want yet. So you want to just ask them first. So is this, you're interested in more, you have more questions, or you're just ready to get started? You can sign them up at the show. You can go ahead and do that. Or if they have more questions, try to set up an appointment to answer those the very next day while their interest is up there. Okay, if you wait a little bit longer, I would say strike while the iron's hot. Get them while they're excited. Otherwise, they'll become a cold lead and not a hot lead. Move quickly before they or someone else talks them out of it. If they say no, you can ask, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? And they'll usually laugh and say, oh, just not right now. I'm too busy. Depending on their response, you might ask when you can follow up. Ask if they would like to be added to your Facebook group for those thinking about getting started, or if an emphatic no, then say, well, if circumstances ever change where you think it might be something you'd like to give it a try, I would love to help you get started. Or if you know someone else who could use some extra money or might enjoy doing this, please think of me. You can also ask those who aren't interested in the opportunity if they would like to host a show. This gives you another touch point to work with them again, and they may just change their mind when they view it from a host perspective. Another time you can invite is for future hosts when you make your 24-hour call to confirm their party. The verbiage is on the next slide, which we'll talk about. And so for guests, you can call or email them the day after the party to thank them for ordering. We call those Big Mac calls or the morning after calls, right? All right, so 24-hour call to host. Hi, Julie. This is Bobby Lynn with Pampered Chef. I wanted to give you a quick call to say thank you for booking a party with me. I know we're going to have so much fun, and you can confirm the date and time and talk about how to invite other people to her show. I know that I mentioned this yesterday, but I have to say that you've been on my mind. See, there's that phrase again. I think you'd be a great consultant with a Pampered Chef, and it would be terrific to have you as part of my team. I'd love to get together with you for a cup of coffee and tell you a little bit about our business. I know you'll love what you hear. What do you think? And again, we talked a little bit about scripts earlier. Have this script ready, but then you can change it to yourself or just however it's flowing, you know, based on her response and yours. Okay. Here's a good morning after call. Hi, Sally. This is April with a Pampered Chef. I wanted to give you a quick call to say thank you for attending Julie's party last night. Did you have fun? Oh, great. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I have to say that you've been on my mind. I think you'd be a great consultant with Pampered Chef, and it would be terrific to have you as part of my team. I'd love to get together with you for a cup of coffee and tell you a little bit about our business. I know you'll love what you hear. So what do you think? Okay. So those are some of the ways you can do that. Guest call responses. If they say yes, great. Set up a time to meet. If they say no, offer to do a show for them. You know, it's always easier to get that show after they've said no to the business. You know. Again, you're going to act depending on their responses to your questions. So if you're meeting, do it quickly. If you don't, they may talk themselves out of it before you meet. Or a friend might say, oh, you don't want to sell that. You want to sell Rodanna Fields or Mary Kay or something with me. Another friend is going to be like, oh my God, she's actually thinking about direct sales and I didn't get her into mine. Shoot. And they used to always say too, if you don't ask, someone else will. So you might want to do that. And you never know who's at your shows. By just looking at people, can you tell if they're afraid of their lights may be turned off tomorrow? Right? Who laid awake last night worrying about bills? Who cried this morning leaving her baby at daycare? Who's wondering when their electricity is going to be turned out? Who needs friends and enjoy in his or her life? Some people do this just because they need friendships. Who's afraid to retire because he or she is afraid of finances? That's why we have some older consultants on the team. Who's worried about having money to pay for braces or a wedding? You know how many consultants have joined Pampered Chef to pay for their wedding? Who needs money right now for a short-term item? You know, maybe they're going to there's a consultant on our team who used to be in our team. You could always tell when she wanted to remodel a room in her house because she'd suddenly have a big month. She wanted a big paycheck, and that's what she did. So she would, you know, putz around and do maybe one party every other month. But boy, when she was ready to remodel a room, she was all over booking a couple shows because she knew that that's how she could do it. So that's your short term. Who's miserable at his or her current job and needs change? You know, sometimes you're just ready for something different in your life. So that's a good one. Ask everyone. And that's perfect, right? We are, okay, let me see if I've missed anything here. No, I don't think so. We are executive bound. Executive bound means that we're building more directors on our team. So everybody is making money, reaching goals, because we're the best team ever, right? Ooh, ooh. This week's call to action. Okay, 1, practice your recruiting messages and activities you will do at shows, right? And if you need to practice with your director, contact your director. If you want to practice, personally, I think you should practice with a host. But you know what I mean? Tell them, look, you know what? Can I ask you a question? I am doing this program with my director right now, and she wants me to practice some of these messages. Do you mind if I just practice with you? I'm not expecting you to join me or anything like that, but will you just give me some honest feedback? I tell you what, I practiced. That's how I got Susie. I practiced with her. I just knew she'd be good, and she was saying no, and I knew she needed to say yes. So I practiced on her like this, and it worked. So think of someone that you've always wanted to join your team or that you think will be really great, and just ask them if you can practice and say, you know what, I could practice with another consultant, but I already know what they're going to say. I want to know from a guest or a host or whatever, how would you respond? And give me some honest feedback. I could take it because I really love what this business is doing for me and what I know it can do for my future. So I'd love your help. And tell me how that works for you, all right? Observe a strong recruiter show. Christina's a good one, but she's on maternity leave now. So Carol, I don't know if you live close to Danielle, but you can always go to one of her shows or come to one of mine. I got a couple coming up. I've been traveling a lot, so I've got some long distance shows, but you're always welcome to come to one of mine. Offer the opportunity to everyone at a full service checkout and do 24-hour follow-up calls. And I'll post these homeworks on our page. Make 15 contacts a week outside of parties. That's, remember, 15, so 3 a day for 5 days, so you get 2 days off. We're good like that. Power Hour for bookings and recruits. Listen to Top Recruiters Tell It All with Brenda Coppy and Genevieve Black. That's a wonderful, that's one I might have on my phone. That's a great call. Does it help if I post the link to that on this Facebook group? Yes, okay, I'll do that for you guys. I'll do that. That's why I did the last one. I thought, you know, if it's right there, harder to say no, I didn't do it. So I'll post that up there for you guys. Next week, our topic is the opportunity chat, okay, or the next call. So you'll learn how to answer questions and close the deal. But of course, if you have a hot lead before then, don't wait till the end of that. Always contact your director or one of us. We are happy to help you with that. So let's maintain that razor sharp focus to move your business forward this week, and we will be celebrating your director promotion soon. Remember, it's very doable to promote during the month of December. That's our goal, right, is to promote in November, December. So let's do, if we want to do a virtual opportunity event, we can do a virtual look and learn. we can schedule another one of those. I know Danielle's been real good about scheduling those. Christina and I can get one scheduled too for the leads that you're going to be getting from doing your homework, right? After all, this is the time to start. There are a lot of people who start businesses October and November because they're looking for Christmas cash, right? And it's legal Christmas cash. Nancy Jo Ryan started her business in October because she wanted Christmas money. She couldn't, and she was just going to do it for Christmas, and that was it. And now she's making, like $1 million a year with a very large team. So you just never know where the business could take you and what it could turn into. But it won't happen unless you invite people. Don't just inform them. You have to invite them to join your team and invite them to just learn, actually. I just want you to listen to a little bit more. I'm not asking you to, marry me right now. I just want you to check it out a little bit. Ask some questions. Just explore. I like the word explore. Explore whether it's something that could work for you. Okay? You guys have questions for me? No? Well, all right then. I know I'm not Prego Miss Christina, but I can pinch hit okay.
You did great.
And as for our friends who aren't here, I hope they follow up and watch our video. Other questions?
No?
No? All right then. Julia, I will see you Wednesday, yes?
Yes.
All right. Carol, thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Ooh, figure out how I can end this thing.
Bye, ladies.
Bye. I can't get to meeting controls.